The number of UFO sightings in Canada is soaring tenfold over the past 25 years.
New reports, 5 pilots coming forward over the weekend saying they've had multiple mid-air encounters with high-flying, fast-moving objects.
Is something really out there? 3 more U.S. senators received a classified briefing about UFOs.
The U.S. Navy has finally acknowledged that videos appearing to show UFOs flying through the air are real. They don't call them UFOs, they call them unidentified aerial phenomena.
The U.S. Navy just made a stunning admission. Naval officials yesterday confirmed that 3 separate UFO videos released by the New York Times in 2017 and previewed on the show are actually genuine. They do, in fact, show aerial phenomena the Navy cannot explain.
Breakthrough technologies emerge rapidly as time advances, and the public is most of the time left in the dark. What government institutions have developed and understood during the past centuries would greatly challenge our life understanding. So why would they break this perfect control paradigm when they can just leave it so and operate from the shadows? In recent years, countless people have reported seeing flying objects of strange shapes, including triangular and spectacular trajectories. Without ever challenging the existence of UFOs of ancient origin, we must make it clear that some of such aircraft are in fact owned and used in the greatest secrecy by the U.S. government. The secrets of free energy, the secret space program, or the true nature of the cosmos, the governments of the world and the hidden masters of the New World Order are at this point the most discussed topic in the online environment and vehemently denied by the American government. As we all know, the media, still in the hands of the global evil elite, do not sweat any words about the existing technologies it owns that could pull mankind away from the crisis, but also from the fossil fuel age and the provision of free energy to mankind, thus making an enormous leap in the evolution of civilization.
Have you ever heard of Cobra, Judy, or Retract Maple? Probably not, because these code names are for secret intelligence projects, classified weapons programs, all of which are part of the Pentagon's ultra-secret black budget.
From the top-secret federal budget dubbed the Black Budget. The Washington Post first broke the news online with details provided by none other than former intelligence contractor Edward Snowden.
The earlier disclosures from these Snowden documents, I think, were a revelation to many Americans that the U.S. spy agencies had gathered so-called metadata, or calling data on almost every citizen in the country.
A whopping $6.5 trillion of taxpayer cash have gone to defense programs, none of which has been audited. And this black budget has sparked concerns over political fraud, as Gained Chikan now reports.
President Obama is shutting down the public's requests on the black budgets.
Black budget began to come to light after October-November 2012 and rely primarily on the personal testimony of an insider named Daniel, who claims to have been part of the Montauk Project, which later turned into Phoenix 1, 2, and 3. If you have the slightest idea about UFO sightings, unidentified flying objects, you probably just stare at the sky and wonder what kind of aliens control these things. But when it comes to TR-3B Astra, it's not what you'd expect at all. To understand the truth about TR-3B Astra, you'll have to catch a glimpse of the world of Aurora, one of the best-kept government secrets to this day. To make a clearer picture, Aurora is not a planet of aliens or an invading army of cyborgs. As a matter of fact, this name has its roots right here in the U.S. These black budget projects are carefully guarded by the eyes of the public. One of the main objectives involved in these projects was the testing and development of many technologies based on Nikola Tesla's work: cold fusion, Pons and Fleischmann, nuclear energy reacts, antimatter and anti-hydrogen propulsion systems, and others. The development of these technologies has led to the creation of a secret space program that goes well beyond the scope of information NASA has chosen to publicly release in terms of the true nature of the cosmos. So, what is this TR-3B Astra? The TR-3B Astra, also known as the Black Triangle, is a nuclear-powered anti-gravity aircraft secretly built and maintained by the U.S. government. It all started in 1982 with the Black Program, a secret Air Force project funded with what is known as the Black Budget, estimated to be worth about $3 billion. The technology behind this aircraft is considered beyond everyday technology. Some even point out that it might as well have been inspired by alien technology. For example, this aircraft has a stealth flight mode, a trait uncommon for decades ago. The TR-3B Astra is extremely lightweight, giving it the ability to easily outmaneuver other aircrafts. This is possible through a technology known as MFD technology. The MFD is a short form of a circular plasma-filled accelerator ring called a magnetic field disruptor. This technology, designed by the Sandia and Livermore laboratories, is so powerful that it was concealed entirely by the government, making it non-existent on paper.
The administration did release its aggregate request for non-military intelligence agencies at $53.5 billion.
A whopping $6.5 trillion of taxpayer cash have gone to defense programs.
Black budget is the budget for the U.S. spy services, which include the CIA and the NSA, which you've been reading a lot about, and about 14 other agencies. So it's the total budget for espionage for the U.S. government.
As you would expect, a lot of money goes into this research. A good amount of tax money pour into this project carried out at the notorious Area 51 Groom Lake Air Base in Nevada. To understand how massive the operations going on in Nevada are, know that the government owns about 80% of all the lands in Nevada. There are 18,000 federal and military personnel working there, with another 20,000 contractors. It is quite easy to keep a project of this proportion a secret when it unfolds in plain sight. Even at the Groom Lake facility, not everyone knows about the operations. It took a while before people started noticing. The earliest media reports of sightings were in the United States and the United Kingdom. As you would expect, the government didn't bother with it too much.
What is the proper relationship, what should be the proper relationship between a chairman of the Fed and a president of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. So long as that is in place and there is no evidence that the administration or the Congress or anybody else is requesting that we do things other than what we think is the appropriate thing, then what the relationships are don't frankly matter. And I've had very good relationships with presidents.
The black budget, with huge sums of money, and by the global banking cartel as part of the diversion of global collateral accounts. One of the most stunning public information on the existence of this secret space program comes from the testimony of British Gary McKinnon. His story is extraordinary. From February 2001 to March 2002, McKinnon, as an independent computer system administrator, managed to gain access to the highly classified documentation of the Pentagon's computer networks.
I used a program called Land Search, I think, that once you had control over the domain, because you'd get control of domain controllers, so you own the whole network, basically. And Land Search could actually search all the files and folders on every machine. And obviously it's hard because things aren't going to be called secret UFO data.pdf, are they? So, but I'd scan and look for documents, etc., and I found an Excel spreadsheet that was actually called, or at least in the heading of the column, it said non-terrestrial officers. And I was like, my God, that's just
non-terrestrial officers.
Non-terrestrial officers with ranks and names, and then a separate sheet with tabs for material transfer between ships. And these were, I mean, I don't remember the names now. It's a long time ago. A lot of people give me a hard time for not remembering the names and stuff, but it was a long time ago.
Right.
But non-terrestrial officers thought, well, it must be, let's try and cut out all the possible conventional explanations first. I searched for that term, it was nowhere. It was nowhere at all. Now if you search for the term, you only find links to me and stuff that I've said.
Right, I see.
So it wasn't a standard thing in the military at all.
Right.
So I took that to be, they must have a secret space-based...
So the non-terrestrial officers, what, it couldn't be astronauts?
It could be. I mean, that's the thing, it's up to you how you interpret that, isn't it?
Right.
But these ships were called USS whatever and USS whatever.
So they've started with USS?
Yeah, so that implies Navy, and I think the Navy do a lot of space stuff, the US Navy.
And how many officers' names would you estimate were listed, and how many ships were listed?
Probably, oh God. I think there's probably one screen full of officers' names, so what's that, 25 rows?
Right,
an Excel spreadsheet. And these were low resolution days as well, so you're talking about 800 by 600 screens, not very big. But the ships was probably, I don't know, a third of the spreadsheet.
So estimate how many different ship names you saw?
Oh God, maybe 8, 10.
8 or 10. And am I right in thinking that you then tried to search for those specific names?
Oh yeah.
Right, and...
Didn't find a thing.
The U.S. government claims that McKinnon violated the operating law in the Defense Ministry's IT system, which posed a threat to national security. The government tagged McKinnon as hacker and cyber terrorist. Over the years, the U.S. government has demanded the extradition of McKinnon from England. However, there was an obstacle in their plans. If he was extradited, he had the legal right to appear before a court, and there is the risk of revealing the true nature of information in the Pentagon's computer files. The existence of the Solar Warden codename given to a particular area in the secret space program. McKinnon admitted during live interviews that the government's accusations against him are being manufactured, and he has not caused any harm to the Pentagon's digital operating systems. Once the U.S. government learned about the true nature of the information over which McKinnon fined, the U.S. abandoned the accusations against him, despite the fact that the U.S. considered him a cyber terrorist.
It was then they started saying, well, it's very serious, it could be a long jail term, the Americans, really want you bad. There's a lot of pressure from Washington on.